We cannot continue to tax the poor party when we should be promoting prosperity.
President Tinubu advances commitment on effective tax system, pushes for sound fiscal policy environment.
The quality of compulsory basic education for our children and skills acquisition and empowerment for our youth must be a priority.
Women supporting women as female deputy governors embrace First Lady's Pet Project.
We will continue to monitor the situations at those places and ensure that we deploy adequately to ensure that we maintain internal security in those areas.
Also tonight, the situation in the Republic of Niger is in focus as Nigeria ramps up security in border communities. Hello and welcome to the Network News. I am Olajide Bello and joining me from Lagos is Adeola Komiakere. Remember, you can watch these news live on our website www.nta.ng/live and also on our other social media handles displayed on your screen. Now let's start with tax reforms. 1 month after constituting a committee to drive its expansive fiscal policy and tax regime, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has formally inaugurated the committee with a mandate to evolve strategies to better the lives of Nigerians. State House correspondent Musbah Danwahab reports.
Largest on the continent, yet at a low ebb of its potential, Nigeria's economy is paradoxically struggling for survival amidst a soaring debt profile.
Debt service begin to consume an ever greater portion of government already meager revenues.
Here is an administration that promises to end the vicious cycle. Apart from the earlier steps such as subsidy removal and harmonization of the multiple exchange rates, all aimed at encouraging investments and economic growth, the current government is empowering this committee to inject new ideas into its economy. The mandate is on a tripod of fiscal governance, tax reforms, and growth facilitation.
Our target is to improve Nigeria's revenue profile while making the business environment more conducive and internationally competitive. Our aim is to transform the tax system to support sustainable development while at the same time achieving a minimum of 18% tax to GDP ratio within the next 3 years. In order to ensure seamless implementation, the committee shall be empowered not merely to make recommendations, but also provide practical support in the execution and delivery of the recommended changes.
Multiplicity of revenue collection agencies, high cost of revenue administration, an excessive burden of compliance on ordinary taxpayers, among others, are also areas of consideration.
We cannot continue to tax the poor party when we should be promoting prosperity. We should no longer tax investment or production, but focus on returns, incomes, and consumption. This government will tax the fruit, but not the seeds.
And the committee, chaired by a world-class expert on economic matters, Taiwo Oyedele, with members from across public and private sectors, promises a comprehensive and long-term focused approach.
The burden of tax falls heavily on those who comply, while those who evade often get away with little or no consequences. We need to change that.
On the account of the work the committee set out to do, our business's environment will become more conducive for local and foreign investments, wealth will be created, and our country will be better for it.
The committee has 1 full year to carry out this assignment that promises to reshape the revenue generation profile of a country, but with a clear mandate not to increase the tax burden on Nigerians. From the State House, Musbah and Wahab, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms has appealed to Nigerians and other relevant stakeholders for support in order to succeed with its mandate. The appeal was made at a briefing with State House correspondent after the inauguration of the committee.
It's our nation, and for it to work, we need that coordination. So one of the pillars of the assignment of the committee is the fiscal governance. That fiscal governance also says we have to ensure we have coordination in terms of within the federal government itself, and also horizontally or vertically, I should say, with subnationals, particularly state, but also local government.
Paying tax is enlightened self-interest, because that's the only way you can guarantee infrastructure. That's the only way you can guarantee that even the people that work for you in business places have the capacity to live a life that is livable. So on behalf of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria and the private sector, we'd like to pledge that our inclusion in this process is for the good of the country.
You know, we are always here to help in other ways by sharing the experience and knowledge of what's worked in other countries. But in terms of, could not be happier if Nigeria gets to the point where it's generating enough of its own revenues in a way that's actually helping create the space for private investment, for families to flourish, and does not need to come to the World Bank for financing. So one other thing that I thought was really important in how the mandate of this committee was set up is that it's not just about tax and revenues, it's really about inclusive growth, but also about fiscal policy in general, which means about the spending side.
Nigeria and the World Trade Organization have agreed to close ranks and come up with measures to alleviate the difficult socio-economic conditions facing Nigerians. Director General of the WTO, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, said this was part of the discussions with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu today at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. State House correspondent Musbah and Wahab reports.
The World Trade Organization, WTO, is apparently one of the organizations Nigeria would have to look up to with economic realities in the country. Though unofficial, the visit of a boss of a global body was an opportunity President Bola Tinubu would not miss to seek help for the country on a round table, and with the accompanying of another Nigerian returning to serve in the country after a sojourn in the diaspora, the hope is more enticing.
On trying to look at community and grassroots programs that can be put in place to create jobs for young people, on trying to support women and children who are those who are bearing the brunt of some of the suffering in the country. We talked about how for the longer term we need to look at investment opportunities that Nigeria can seize, including in the pharmaceutical industry. We are already working in Nigeria with women in particular who own small and medium enterprises to try to help them upgrade the quality of their products, whether it's in the agricultural area, in textiles, and in other areas, so that they can sell more internationally. We're trying to help them with digital trade. The wave of the future is digital trade.
The difficulties that we're facing is transitory. I think with the vision of Mr. President, I think there's reason to be very hopeful that we'll navigate through this difficult time and have a Nigeria that sees us stronger, united, and inspired for the greatness that is in our future.
Meanwhile, as the authority of the ECOWAS heads of state and governments considers the next line of action of the Niger coup following the expiration of the ultimatum, the presidency is maintaining that Nigeria has no isolated stand on the situation apart from the common ground of the regional bloc.
The Nigerian government has acted on the authority provided by the consensus position taken by the bloc itself, by all members of the ECOWAS heads of state. concerning financial sanctions, and many others. I can also report that His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has ordered an additional slate of financial sanctions through the Central Bank of Nigeria on entities and individuals related to or involved with the military junta in Niger Republic.
The ECOWAS reconvenes again in Abuja for an extraordinary summit on Thursday. From the State House, Musbau and Wahab, NTA News.
And from Pretoria, South Africa, we hear significant progress has been made in ongoing talks on the African Free Trade Zone Agreement with participants at the 2023 African Bar Association Conference, agreeable to its utility as a tool to unlocking the fortunes of Africa. Legal practitioners at the ongoing conference are rooting for its success. Head of NTA's Judiciary Desk, Dele Atumbi, is in Pretoria and now tells us more.
The Continental Free Trade Area Agreement is a legal instrument encouraging and promoting economic activities, including movement of goods and services among state parties. The intent of the legal instrument is to ensure African countries trade among themselves without let or hindrance. To show the commitment of the state parties to this legal instrument, 54 out of 55 countries have signed the agreement. As a way of ensuring the realization of the objectives of this agreement, 44 state parties have so far deposited their instrument of ratification, with only 4 ratifying the protocol on the movement of people. Going by the projections in the agreement, the AFCFTA is one of the flagship projects of Agenda 2063, with gross domestic product valued at $3.4 trillion.
Business people don't want people who are going to learn on the job. They want people who are ready because they've got businesses to run, and they lose money when there are delays. But it is important that the business community invests in our strong judiciary. And the way to do that is to make sure that in all these branches of law that will flow from this agreement and other similar agreements, that lawyers throughout are given exposure to this field.
A whole new opportunity has been provided. How can we grab it and make it work better for all? The first thing is knowledge of its design and what is expected from it being already in force.
Participants at the ongoing 2023 African Bar Association Conference are of the view that political stability, judicial independence, and Continental Free Trade Area Agreement will go a long way in boosting multilateral trade on the continent. From Pretoria, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
For more on the ongoing conference, Dele Atumbi joins us live via Zoom from Pretoria, South Africa. Dele, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Jide.
Now, are you getting a sense that the conference is meeting set objectives in terms of deliberations and the prospect of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement and what the continent stands to gain?
Well, thank you, Jide. Let's start from the objectives of the legal instrument, because what we are discussing here is a legal instrument which African Union are brought together, and it is in the best interest of Africa. It is the first objective, which is a particular objective, has to do with establishing African market. The market is a single market with single currency. And that is the proposal. And the proposal is saying that between now and 2063, all this should be achieved. We are talking about movement of people. We are talking about services. We are talking about access to goods. We are equally talking about access to virtually everything that are being produced on the continent of Africa. So it is a huge market that has virtually everything that is Africa. And we must commend the heads of governments for coming up with this agreement. It is in the best interest of everybody. the objective is clear. That is, Africans must trade among themselves. It gives Africans the opportunity to trade among themselves. The era of running to people for aid will be gone the moment we have this huge market, which is being put together by the government on the continent of Africa. It is important. It is a goal. It's a set goal that must be achieved by every African must be proud of and must be achieved. And talking about, if you take a look, we move from the objectives. The gains are much because the market is very huge. Africans will be able to trade among themselves with single currency. The people would, it will enhance the economy of Africa. The people themselves will have access to the virtually everything that they need within the African continent. It will equally attract investors, foreign direct investors to Africa, and the area of people, Africans being shortchanged will be gone. It will be a forgone era. It is in the best interest of Africa for this project to.
All right. Many thanks, Dele. I know you want to give us some more information, but I hope you're enjoying yourself in Pretoria. Just sign out with that.
Thank you, Jide. Pretoria is good.
All right. Many thanks for your input, Dele Atumbi, our judiciary correspondent there. You're watching the network news. Still to come, Senate leadership meets the organized labor towards resolution of subsisting contentious issues associated with fuel subsidy removal. These and more after the break. Many thanks for being there. And back home in Nigeria, female political bigwigs at the state level as well as the Bank of Industry have thrown their support behind the Renewed Hope initiative, the pet project of Nigeria's First Lady, Remi Tinubu. State House correspondent Adeniyi Taiwo reports that female deputy governors in the country and the BOI are the latest to see collaboration with the First Lady on her Renewed Hope initiative.
With a clear interventionist agenda in 5 focal areas covering agriculture, health, education, economic empowerment, and social investment, the Renewed Hope initiative of Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has expectedly struck the right chord with many international and local organizations who have pledged support for its actualization. The visit of the female deputy governors to the office of the First Lady is for a similar purpose. Leader of the delegation and Deputy Governor of Ogun State, Noimot Salako Oyedele, who led 3 of her colleagues from Ekiti, Kaduna, and Plateau states on the courtesy visit, says they are united in their resolve to contribute their quota to national development and would align with the initiative to achieve set goals in the area of needed investment in women and children.
Ensure that future generations of Nigerians are healthy, educated, and productive. The health and nutrition of under 5s, the quality of compulsory basic education for our children, and skills acquisition and empowerment for our youth must be a priority.
Happy to receive their support, the First Lady says the initiative is counting on their technical input for the successful implementation of its programs, particularly in the areas of health and nutrition of under 5 children in the states.
Always believe that when we touch one life at a time, it goes a long way. Only that the life you touch, you just have to encourage the life to touch another, because we cannot take everyone, all at once. But whatever it is, I can assure you that I'm also determined.
We want to discuss how we can be of support to that program.
Earlier, the First Lady had granted audience to the management of the Bank of Industry, led by its Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Oluka Odikpiton, which was at the State House to explore areas of partnership with the initiative. The bank is willing to fast-track the implementation of the programs of the initiative by making available some of its platforms and database. In the State House, Adeniyi Taiwo, NTA News.
While the situation in the Republic of Niger is still generating attention and concern, Nigeria is ramping up security measures along border communities, with the Acting Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, directing affected commands to set up adequate structure in vast regard. The acting IGP gave the directive at a strategic meeting with senior police officers in Abuja. Francis Pham reports.
Today, we shall address germane and topical issues.
It is a crucial engagement with strategic managers of the force to review the current state of internal security and achievements as the acting IGP takes stock of his 2 months in office.
I am pleased to disclose that our crime-fighting initiatives are paying off, leading to the arrest of 986 armed robbery suspects, 377 kidnapped suspects, including bandits, 848 suspects of homicide, 297 suspects for possession of prohibited firearms, 517 suspects of rape, defilement and other sexual offenses, 874 suspected cultists, and 5,281 suspects for various other offenses.
The coup in the Republic of Niger resonated at the meeting. AIGs and CPs in border states have been told to collaborate with other security agencies to ensure that criminal activities in neighboring countries are adequately tackled.
We will continue to monitor the situations at those places and ensure that we deploy adequately to ensure that we maintain internal security in those areas.
The acting IGP applauded the professional manner in which officers and men of the force managed the recent NLC peaceful protest, as no casualty was recorded, while commending the labor leaders and the Nigerian citizens for conducting themselves in the most peaceful manner. The acting IGP assures that the overall conduct of officers and men in managing the protest will henceforth be adopted for operational control of nationwide protest. Francis Pham, NTA News.
And still on security, the Nigerian military and policy experts are advancing the use of non-lethal force in tackling the nation's emerging security challenges. This was highlighted at the ongoing non-kinetic operations course at the Nigerian Army Resource Center, Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has details.
For more than a decade, the Nigerian military has been engaged in different internal security operations in the Northeast. This operation led to the liberation of several towns and people held hostage. The defense headquarters noted that introduction of non-kinetic approach facilitated the mass surrender of terrorists and subsequent deflation of the fighting force of the criminal groups.
Our non-kinetic efforts in our operations have ensured peace and stability in various troubled areas across our dear country, especially in countering militancy and terrorism. This has been achieved through various soft and hard power initiatives, including signing of peace pacts.
The approach requires the participation of critical stakeholders for it to succeed.
Bulk of the security challenges were more or less an internal issue, being perpetrated by mostly Nigerians on Nigerians. So how do we mitigate that? I think it is important to look at time-tested conflict resolution mechanisms as against resorting to the extreme use of violence that tend to escalate the security challenges. So that is the essence of it. And I'm so happy that we are running the second course of non-kinetic approach to security challenges in this country.
For the military authorities, the ultimate goal is to win the hearts and minds of the people and further secure the nation. From the Nigerian Army Resource Center in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
And away from security matters, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Labour and Employment, Kachilam Daju, is pleading with the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NRD, to call off its strike, ensuring the planned picketing of public hospitals tomorrow for the sake of millions of people in need of medical care. Daju said stakeholders at the highest level are meeting on the matter, and government is determined to address the demands of the resident doctors. She appealed to the doctors to wait for the newly confirmed ministers to be assigned portfolios and resume duty, as permanent secretaries have threshold.
On the immediate payment of 2023 medical residency training fund, We appeal to them that they should kindly await when ministers are in place, because permanent secretaries have a threshold, and what the government is expected to pay is far and above the threshold of the permanent secretary. They equally talked about the one-on-one placements of exited doctors. The Office of the Head of the Civil Service is attending to that. A committee was set up for that.
Resident doctors embarked on an indefinite industrial action on 26 July 2023, demanding, among other issues, the immediate payment of the 2023 Medical Residency Training Fund, upward review of the consolidated medical salary structure, and payment of all salary arrears owed its members since 2015. Meanwhile, President of the Senate, Abia, has commended the organized labor for its understanding and continued patience with the federal government over the fuel subsidy removal policy. He made the commendation during a meeting between the leadership of the Senate and labor unions. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The meeting was in fulfillment of the promise by the Senate leadership to have a roundtable with labor during the peaceful protest on current economic challenge last Wednesday, which organized labor took to the National Assembly. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, said the executive, legislature and labor unions are partners in progress in improving situations for the better, adding, however, that the first step of which is building Nigeria's revenue profile.
Nigeria has not been able to realize its potentials in terms of generating revenue. And without the revenue being generated, you cannot cater for the welfare of workers and the welfare of citizens. Neither can you even pay your debt, whether internal local debts or so I see something emerging from this interaction, a major partnership.
Both the Nigeria Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress urge Parliament to enact laws that will address the plight of workers.
Mr. President promised that he is going to restructure the mechanism for which we are engaging with government, so that things could, be treated fast. So we suggest, or we still plead, that you put your heads together with Mr. President, so that we can have a committee that is meeting. But this is like an emergency.
What we have been advocating, and we want you to also help us champion this, is that when the refineries are fixed, let us not go back to business as usual. When we fix the refinery, we should look for a model that is already working.
The meeting continued behind closed doors as Labour expresses hope of urgent and impactful interventions to cushion the hardship of Nigerians in the wake of subsidy removal. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Investigations continue at the House of Representatives Investigative Committee on Employment Racketeering at the Federal Character Commission, with House of Representatives assuring alleged victims of job security if investigations establish that the employment letters were genuinely and duly signed by the Commission. National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ben, however, reports that one of those who testified against the Commission's chairman at the last sitting, Kolo Haruna, failed to appear before the committee.
Ali Mohammed Yaro and Abdul Malik Isa Ahmed are among a group of 24 persons who allegedly paid between 1 million to 1.5 million naira through Kolo Haruna and other proxies to get employment at the Federal Character Commission in 2021. Kolo Haruna, who testified on Monday that he received monies from job seekers to get placement at Federal Character Commission, however failed to appear as requested at Tuesday's sitting.
If Kolo is not here, it means he will mean different thing to us. We will assume he was here to misguide the general public. So, but we will not jump into making those statements. Let us interact with the two witnesses.
Ali Mohammed Yaro and Abdul Malik Isa Ahmed told the House Ad Hoc Committee investigating employment racketeering that their employment letters were recently withdrawn by the Commission, sequel to investigation by the House of Representatives.
The down signature is that of the secretary, whom, when we went to the chairman, I happened to be among the three that appeared before the chairman. Before the secretary could comment anything, she said that his document also was forged, but they did not get it right as hers.
On 5th August 2022, Badamasi Ejalo took me to Treasury House, where Kolo Haruna met us and took me inside the IPPI's office, and I was captured on IPPI's platform. Kolo Haruna and Badamasi told me that my posting letter will be ready after 2 weeks.
The committee encourages other victims of the alleged employment racketeering in agencies of government to come up with testimonies as part of measures to curb the trend. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
We now join Adiola Komiakere in Lagos Network Center for more reports. Adiola.
Thank you, Olajide. With the nation's medical community pointing at unhealthy diet arising from consumption of packaged, processed and fast food in urban centers, which is contributing to increase in cases of cardiovascular diseases, stakeholders in the food control chain have made a move to regulate the intake of ultra-processed fat and oil in the country. Larry Bilei completes the report.
According to the World Health Organization, WHO, non-communicable diseases such as cardiovascular diseases, cancer, chronic respiratory diseases, and diabetes are majorly the causes of death globally, especially in low and middle-income countries. One of the reasons attributed to the trend is basically due to unhealthy diet. For example, in Nigeria, unrestrained consumption of fats and oil is common. Gazetting regulations about food, this time fats and oil, packaged food, is the first step to eliminate industrially processed trans fatty acids from food supplies, with the banning of hydrogenated oil commonly found in ultra-processed foods.
The hydrogenated oils or trans fatty acids industrially produced can lead to, they are not as soluble, okay, and they can deposit within the vessels, the blood vessels. So they start narrowing down the path the blood is going to be traveling. And once that narrowing starts, blood pressure happens.
With this development, enlightenment of the public has to be stepped up to take on the responsibility of examining the content of their packaged processed oils and other food.
At the state level, we have established, it's mandated that they should establish food safety desk in every Ministry of Health, and then they have a national state committee on food safety and quality. Then at the local government, the same thing should be reciprocated.
Health and dietary experts revealed that Nigeria is the first West African and second in sub-Saharan region after South Africa to adopt these regulatory measures. In Lagos, Larry Bilei, NTA News.
Zenith Bank PLC, one of Nigerian Anglophone West Africa large financial service provider, has taken another initiative to lead the process of attaining economic prosperity for Africa, to create opportunities and grow the economy through expansion of Nigeria's participation in the non-oil export markets. To facilitate this, the bank has become the first to enter into agreement with the African Continental Free Trade Area AFCFTA to develop a smart AFCTA portal to boost investment in the region. Lynn Leneke reports that the MOU was signed at the 8th International Trade Seminar in Lagos.
Reducing Nigeria's overdependence on crude oil earnings, experts say, requires expanding the range of the country's value-added exportable products. As a game changer, Zenith Bank PLC is already looking into the future to drive the needed change to unlocking economic potential of Nigeria and reduce poverty.
With the development of this portal, one of the capabilities we are going to build in there is that you can sit in every part of Africa and market your products and services. You can sit in every part of Africa, identify whatever products and services you require, that are in Africa.
Secretary General, African Continental Free Trade Area, says the partnership will give Nigeria the opportunity to accelerate its competitiveness, create jobs, and expand her presence in the markets.
I want to encourage today Nigerian exporters, investors, manufacturers to consider the entire AFCFTA market, all of the 47 countries that have ratified the agreement, as your market, your export market.
The country's Apex Bank also highlighted facts behind the figure on Nigeria's current contributions in the non-oil export markets.
Between 2001 and 2011, the non-oil exports to GDP ratio for Nigeria was 0.8%. And you can imagine that in the next decade, so from 2012 to 2022, I looked at the board, they are still at 1.2%. But we need to be growing much faster.
Zenith Bank PLC is providing a formidable platform to foster intra-regional trade, eliminate barriers, and provide huge market opportunity for investors. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. More reports will come after this break. To stay.
Many thanks for being there. Now to politics and election matters. While it is 3 months to the November 11, 2023 Imo State governorship election, stakeholders in the Okigwe zone of the state have unanimously endorsed the second-term bid of Governor Hope Uzodimma. This was at a meeting held at the country home of Chief Tony Chukwu in Ehimembano local government area of Imo State last weekend. Faith Igwilo has details.
The stakeholders from the 6 local government areas that made up the Okigwe senatorial zone of Imo State, including traditional rulers, religious leaders, serving and former political office holders, among others, made it clear that Governor Hope Uzodimma has performed in his first tenure in office, therefore should be supported by all well-meaning citizens of the state to continue steering the ship of the state beyond one term in office in order to enable him to continue with his people-oriented governance.
To reaffirm that endorsement and that support for the second tenure of Distinguished Senator Hope Uzodimma as a governor of Imo State.
All the praises we are giving to our governor today is hinged on his ability to give what is due to the citizens.
The motion for the reaffirmation of the endorsement of Governor Hope Uzodimma for a second term in office was moved by former Speaker of Imo State House of Assembly, Chief Achuyim, and was seconded by the immediate past Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Chief Emeka Nduka.
Considering all this, we do not have any choice than to say that this governor who has done so much in so short a time should be allowed to continue this job.
The entire people of Okigwe zone endorse our governor, most distinguished Senator Hope Uzodimma, for a second term in office.
The Okigwe zonal stakeholders also promised to mobilize the electorate in the zone to vote for the governor in the November 11 governorship election. From Ehimembano local government area of Imo State, I am Faith Igwilo, NTA News.
In neighboring Umuahia, Abia State capital, the state government has officially launched Operation Crush, a security initiative it says is designed to tackle crime and insecurity in the state. Abia State Governor Alex Otiwa inaugurating the scheme in Umuahia, the state capital, described the program as a strong and coordinated response to insecurity, which he noted has negatively impacted the people. Ifamandu Okole was there and now reports.
Operation Crush is a joint task force comprising the police, army, navy, Department of State Service, and Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps. The security outfit is designed by the Abia State government to identify and respond swiftly to security threats in the state. Governor Alice Oti pointed out that the aim is to counter incidents of kidnapping, armed robbery and banditry in the state and charge the personnel to pay more attention to Umunnochi and Isukwato axis, Aba, Umuahia and other parts of the state identified as flashpoints for criminals.
While the security agents have been directed to be hard and unforgiving on the criminals, doing whatever is necessary to restore law and order, especially in the already identified flashpoints. They have also been reminded to guard against any form of exuberances that could result in the harassment of innocent citizens.
Responding on behalf of other security chiefs in the State Commissioner of Police, Kenechukwu Onwoemelie, commended Governor Oti for his support and commitment in making criminals uncomfortable while securing law-abiding citizens and residents in Abia State.
Counting on the unflinching support of the governor and his lieutenants, we shall do our best to ensure that his vision for security in Abia State is met.
The launch, which featured distribution of the first batch of 20 Healers vans for the scheme, attracted dignitaries from within and outside the state. In Umuahia, Ifeoma Nduokolie, NTA News.
Reduction of road crashes, imbibing the culture of safe motoring and building cordial relationship between the Federal Road Safety Corps and stakeholders formed part of discussions in a town hall meeting at the instance of the FRSC Corps Marshal Dauda Alibiu, held in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital. The meeting was part of activities during the FRSC Corps Marshal's two-day working visit to Borno State. Fatima Isa reports.
On arrival in Maiduguri, the FRSC Corps Marshal Dauda Alibiu took time to interact with staff of the Borno Sector Command. At the Government House Maiduguri, the Corps Marshal was received by the Deputy Governor Umar Usman Kadafur, where he appreciated the Zulum administration for the good working relationship and continued support to the FRSC. The Deputy Governor pledged more support to the FRSC, moving to greater heights under the leadership of a son of Borno.
Borno State government as a horse will work hand in hand and partner with the Federal Road Safety Corps in all areas.
The town hall meeting, first of its kind to be organized in the state by the Corps Marshal, had in attendance officials and members of all road transport unions in Borno. The FRSC Corps Marshal Dauda Alibiu spoke extensively on the need to check accidents through compliance to speed limit, avoidance of overloading and reckless driving.
We want to reaffirm our commitment to the government to discharge our duties, to improve our presence, and also to inform the government of what we have done.
Stakeholders had in their goodwill messages appreciated the Corps Marshal for the initiative that will go a long way in further cementing the relationship between the FRSC, road transport unions and even drivers. In Maiduguri, Fatima Isa, NTA News.
Another break beckons. The news continues shortly. Many thanks for being there. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu shares in the pain of loss with family, friends and congregants of the Fountain of Life Church over the passing of a senior pastor, Taiwo Odukoya, at 67. In a statement, Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Nigerian Galilei, President Tinubu sent his heartfelt condolences to the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN, and associates of the highly revered religious leader whose teachings, outreach and good work expanded the frontiers of charitable endeavor with particular respect to education and health sectors. Repositioning Nigerian Football Federation to enhance performance of players in all football tournaments across the globe has remained at the concern of the citizenry and supporters of the nation's flag bearers. It is in this view that the international business mogul and chairman, Rental Energy Resources Limited, Dr. Mohammed Ndimi, is assuring to work closely with NFF with a view to addressing the issues following his appointment as live patron of the Football Federation by the President Ibrahim Musa Gusau, held in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital.
As part of effort by the Nigeria Football Federation to take football to a higher level and ensure the team Nigeria always emerges victorious in all tournaments, President of the NFF, Ibrahim Musa Gusau, appointed Dr. Muhammadu Indimi as the Federation's life patron. The appointment also coincided with Dr. Indimi's 76th birthday, where he commended the football national body for the appointment. The NFF life patron, however, expressed dismay over Nigeria's soccer team losing out at crucial stages of international competitions, citing the ongoing Women World Cup where the Super Falcons of Nigeria lost to England.
I'm happy that I received you in person, and I want to show you that I'm serious about it. I want to visit your headquarters with all my questions.
Because of his pedigree. You know who he is, and we, as I have said, we make our own search, and we find him the right person that we can trust with this kind of responsibility.
The national president, NFF, Ibrahim Musa Gusau, said they look on to Dr. Indimi for support as he will be instrumental in getting Nigeria secure a place in the 2026 World Cup to be hosted by USA and Canada. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
And that concludes the network news. Thanks for being a part of it. I am Olajide Bello.